lot going on in the Fever and Sun game, but let's start at the beginning with perhaps the most talked about play incident, if you will, where Caitlin Clark took a poke to the eye, went down, clearly in pain. I thought nothing of it in real time. Like, I mean, other than I hope she's okay, and obviously it was probably painful. But these sort of things happen in basketball. Literally, yesterday I was playing basketball and caught a nose to the elbow. Totally inadvertent, incidental contact. I thought that the same thing in real time, watching the Carrington play against Caitlin Clark. I mean, here is the real-time version of it right here, as you can see. And looks like she's swiping for the ball, follows through, and accidentally hits Caitlin Clark in the eye. That's what it looked like to me. Still what it looks like on that replay to me. But sometimes when things get put into slow motion, they look a lot worse. And there's an angle floating around out there that at least puts into question whether this was an accident or not. Certainly, whether it was an accident or not shows you how hard the contact was. Because Carrington almost dives into her eye there. That's what makes it seem a little strange, is like the motion of her hand. That's the kind of motion one would make if they were trying to poke somebody in the eye and make it look like they were going after the ball. I mean, that's a possibility, certainly. I'm not saying she did it deliberately because, again, the time, the slow-mo makes it much different than the other one. So I don't know. But it was brutal enough and ugly enough to make you question it. And I think that is the fair look at it. And, of course, there's a history with Carrington and Clark and Carrington and Fever fans. So that's going to make this even more of a lightning rod issue. And then Carrington's nails also came up. And I saw this picture shared. So I'm going to be as fair as possible. There's a photo of her nails. It's not like she's Wolverine, right? Like some people are making it out to be. But at the same time, I make sure to clip my nails before I go to the gym to play ball. You know, and I don't think players should be allowed to have nails of any length playing a contact sport. Man, woman, whatever. Just because of the hazards. Why you can't wear jewelry when you're playing sports either. And there is a bit of a risk. And then there was, Clark sort of getting her get back, I think. And you, of course, have the other side of these things, try to say, why doesn't the princess get called out for her stuff? And you see Clark fling her elbow back against Carrington at the beginning of that play there. And that was frustration, I think. And maybe it was a little get back because maybe Clark does suspect, hey, you raked my eye out, more or less. She wouldn't say that in the post game. Obviously, she said what she said about it. But again, I thought nothing of it in real time. Clear accident. And when I see it in real time, I still don't see intent in real time. But that slow-mo angle and the way she does go in there at least puts it into question, certainly makes it a concern, and is clearly evidence of how hard the shot to Clark's eye was, and maybe, a reminder that nails shouldn't be allowed out on the court, regardless of who it is, whether they're real acrylic for anybody, because it's just simply something can happen. That's all. Not like taking away from anybody. And there's so many subplots in this series. Like the Melissa Smith and DiJonai thing is still so strange to me, just because I guess, I'm used to my whole life covering the NBA. You don't see much like this. And Melissa Smith only got, 8 minutes in that game? So that was a subplot going in. Then you see them after. Now, there's tons of respect for Caitlin Clark from the Connecticut Sun as a whole. DeWanna Bonner, who was excellent in the game. All credit to Alyssa Thomas and Marina Mabry and DeWanna Bonner. They played their tails off in that game. And DeWanna Bonner specifically, she shot the ball well. She defended well. And during the game, she had said, they talked to her about holding Clark to 0 for 3 from the field. And she said, knock on wood. And then after the game, she paid more respect to Clark because that's what a competitor does, right? Like she's taking it on as a challenge, as she should, because she's a great player, an all-star, and a competitor.
What was the reason for putting you on Caitlin? Usually, DiJonai guards her.
Just game planning, trying to come up with a strategy. They beat us last time, so we had to do something different. Yeah, that was about it. It was nothing behind it. They got 2 great guards, so somebody got to step up and play defense. And I mean, that's the only way to beat them. So just took on the challenge, and she's a great player. I know next game she's gonna come out firing. So got to go back, watch some video, and see what we can do. But there was nothing behind it. I mean, that's the only way we can win, honestly.
Respect from DeWanna Bonner there toward the opponent, toward Caitlin Clark, and that's probably one of the reasons she did such a good job. She's taking the responsibility so seriously. And, you know, the Fever are now on the brink. And Mitchell and Clark combined to shoot their worst combined percentage from 3 of the entire season in that one. Clark said the eye didn't have much of an effect, but I don't know, you know, maybe it had some. Because anytime you're taking an injury like that, it's going to impact the way you play. Nothing looked particularly off about her shot to me. As I said in the previous video, her shot looked okay, but that other angle is sure to be widely spread. But again, you know, I'm trying to be as fair as possible because I thought nothing of it at all in real time. That sort of stuff happens. So I don't want to just totally take the slow-mo version and let that completely shift how I think. But there was enough in the slow-mo version to raise antennas, I guess is what I'm saying. But the direction of the hand, not necessarily checking on her when she goes down, not immediately looking back for the ball, stuff like that. And it's a tough series, and it's been a tough year for Clark. I mean, she's gone through a lot in this season. In order to keep persevering. I thought it was funny. I saw Shannon Sharp on First Take today kind of put them on blast for the gatekeeping that has happened to Clark and the idea that, you know, it's disrespectful to all the other players that Clark is being promoted to the extent that she has been. And I think as the season has gone along, more of the other players have gotten shine and props. In fact, I think it's been the best thing for A'ja Wilson's career, to be quite honest. But, you know, the viewership numbers, the attention, all that stuff has come with Caitlin Clark. And now there may only be one other time we get to see her play in her rookie season. I hope that's not the case. And I hope she comes out firing like DeWanna Bonner said. And I hope she shoots better from the field.